an intense opportunity that's coming available. I'm going to talk to you about it. But first, remember, we're talking about every week how to get the life, the love, and the loot you deserve. And so I want to start off really just talking to you. I am talking to you because 10 years ago, I sat right where you're at. I also want to talk at the end about my prophetic insight, which is like what some people call intuition, but it is actually a gift. Some of you that are tuned into me have the same gifting given by God. You're not a psychic, but this gift will propel you, bring you before great men, and change your destiny. But I want to talk today about what I wish I knew 10 years ago. 3 things I wish I knew 10 years ago. Oh my God, that would have given me more love, more loot, more money, and a better life. Okay. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. All right. First thing that I realized, and if you haven't realized this, you're going to realize it by the time you hit 40, or by the time you have what they call an awakening, that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what people think. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how long it's taking you to get your degree, how far behind you feel you are, the learning curve. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. I need you to just shake yourself for a moment. I spent so much time wasted worrying about things that didn't really matter. They don't matter. A best friend left you, a boyfriend betrayed you, you've got a speech impediment, you grew up in poverty, you had sickle cell anemia, you are shorter or taller than the average woman or man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can still have the life, the love, and the money you deserve. It's really just, it gives you an advantage that you actually could be using to qualify yourself. And here's a great example. There's a guy who doesn't have arms, doesn't have limbs. It didn't matter because he still became one of the #1 best-selling speakers, went on to get married. I think his wife looks like a supermodel. And then he actually went on to father 4 kids. He's a best-selling author. You might know this guy named, I don't want to butcher up his name, so that's why I'm not mentioning him. I think it's Robert something, but it didn't matter. If he could do it, so could you and I. And if I had known this, oh my gosh, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, right at the 30s, right at the budding of the 30s, my life would have been so much better. What could you be doing if you really embrace that it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter how far behind you are, how lonely you've been, how rejected you've been. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You can, in fact, that disadvantage will give you a common group of people that now can relate to you. And now your struggle, your success story can make you millions of dollars. So it doesn't really matter. I could talk about that forever. Number 2, the thing I wish I had known, and what I'm trying to give you, that if you would embrace this right now, your life would change, is work harder. I used to be a person that gave up so easily 10 years ago. If I would apply for a grant and they asked me for a 5-page proposal, I would just quit. If it was tough, if it was, we need you to give us the last 10 years of bank statements, we need your EIN, we need all this stuff, I would just quit. Maybe you're like myself. Maybe you're not living the life you're supposed to. Maybe right now you know that you should be living a different life. Do you realize that this broadcast, this YouTube could change your life forever? A mental shift. There are so many stories of people who didn't have the playing field leveled. They were at a disadvantage and they became a hero. They became a modern legacy because they knew they had to work harder. If we can get it in our minds now that I'm going to have to work harder at success than I ever had in anything in my life, I'm going to, like Eric Thomas says, want it as bad as I want to breathe, then the obstacles, I'll start pushing out of the way. I'll start dominating in my field, right? So you're going to have to work harder. The life that you have now is the life that you deserve. I know. And so it's a byproduct of sowing and reaping. Sowing good seeds. Hard work will be rewarded. It doesn't matter if you're a railroad conductor. It doesn't matter if you're an artist. If you practice, if you plan, if you're prepared, and you work harder than you've ever worked in your life, you will see a new outcome. I want to implore you that your prophetic insight is going to line you up for the place of exceeding abundance, because you're supplying somebody's need. Whether it's art, whether it's flower arrangements, whether it's hair, whether it's optometry, it could be anything. But you're going to have to make a covenant with yourself that I'm going to work harder. I'm not going to let little obstacles stop me. I'm not going to let lack of money stop me. I'm not going to let two people who don't like me stop the show. I'm going to press. I am going to be determined. This is my chance, and I don't get a second one. I don't get another break. And so I'm going to have to work harder. I'm going to have to save more. I'm going to have to love more. I'm going to have to think more. I'm going to have to pace the floor. I'm going to have to problem solve more. I'm going to have to be more creative. I'm going to have to do a little bit more than what the average person is doing to be the greatest successful legacy holder, that I feel satisfied when I go to sleep at night. I'm going to have to do more. And if I had known that 10 years ago, I wouldn't be trying to play catch up. You wouldn't be trying to play catch up. We're disappointed in ourselves. We're angry at ourselves, at life, because we live a life full of a fistful of regrets. Fistful of tears and a fistful of regrets. Right now, I don't care if you're 85. You can change your life and other people's lives around you. All right, here's the third thing that I wish I had known 10 years ago. That would have propelled me. I would have liked to say consistency, but let me tell you what it is. Finances matter. Money matters. And I spent 10 years doing a lot of humanitarian work, and I just put finances on the back burner. I put budgeting on the back burner. I put financial literacy on the back burner. I put establishing credit or relationships with banks and people on the back burner, and it costs me. Money's not going to show up just because you have a good heart. You're a good person. I'm a great person. Hey, I was putting wells in the ground, rescuing orphans, but didn't have the finances to fully do what I needed to do, because I did not realize 10 years ago that finances matter. And people will pour into you if you can show them that you're aptitude not to take it and squander it. Okay, God will pour into you. People will pay you if you can be faithful in that little thing, all right? I'm going to give you one more. This is a bonus, and I'm only got 2 more minutes left, 1 minute and 15 seconds. There is a reward for the diligent. I didn't know that. I thought that when people did me wrong, that they just got away with it. I spent a lot of time disappointed. I spent a lot of time not wanting to get back up because I didn't think that I was going to be rewarded. I stopped doing broadcasts. I stopped doing classes and workshops because I didn't see the instant reward. But you have to know, and I finally figured it out after the last 10 years, because my reward would come, but it was little. It was trickling. And so go back to that working harder thing. If I had been doing videos back when I had the insight to do it 10 years ago, I'd probably be blown up on YouTube by now, and so would you. If we had acted on that idea, here's the time right now. I'm going to give you an affirmation to use right now that will propel you. These are the things I wish I knew, but guess what? Now you know them. Now you can put them in practice. You're smarter than you think. You have more love than you think. You're more resilient than you've ever even known. And there is a set place, a seat that has been graced just for you. Hey, I'm Annie Ridgle. And hey, I'm going to be doing a class in person in North Carolina, and I do them revolving. I do the Destiny Boot Camp to launch entrepreneurs. I do the prophetic classes to people who are dreamers, visionaries, serial